Disclaimer. This book may contain content that is considered historically inaccurate or culturally insensitive by modern standards. My hope is that by exploring old literature, we will better understand why people of the past thought the way that they did and understand the influences that shape their culture. This video is not intended for young audiences. Hi, I'm Morgan, and today I will be reading to you from Out of Door Book, which is the 7th book in a series or collection of books called The Children's Hour, published by Houghton Mifflin Co. in 1907. And the story I will be reading is My Dog Wisie by John Ruskin. He was a white Spitz, exactly like Carpaccio's dog in the picture of St. Jerome, and he came to me from a young Austrian officer who had got tired of him, the Count Thun, who fell afterward at Solferino. Before the dog was used enough to us, George and I took him to Lido to give him a little sea bath. George was holding him by his forepaws upright among the little crisp breakers. Wisie snatched them out of his hands and ran at full speed into fairyland, like Frederick the Great at Mollwitz. He was lost on Lido for 3 days and nights, living by petty larceny, the fishermen and cottagers doing all they could to catch him, but they told me he ran like a hare and leaped like a horse. At last, either overcome by hunger, or having made up his mind that even my service was preferable to liberty on Lido, he took the deep water in broad daylight and swam straight for Venice. A fisherman saw him from a distance, rowed after him, took him, tired among the weeds, and brought him to me, the Madonna della Salute having been propitious to his repentant striving with the sea. From that time he became an obedient and affectionate dog, though of extremely self-willed and self-possessed character. I was then living on the north side of St. Mark's Place, and he used to sit outside the window on the ledge at the base of its pillars the great part of the day, observant of the manners and customs of Venice. Returning to England, I took him over the St. Gothard, but found him entirely unappalled by any of the work of the devils on it, big or little. He saw nothing to trouble himself about in precipices, if they were wide enough for him to put his paws on, and the dog who had fled madly from a crisp sea wave trotted beside the fall of the Reuss, just as if it had been another white dog, a little bigger, created out of foam. Reaching Paris, he considered it incumbent upon him to appear unconscious of the existence of that city, or of the Tuileries Gardens and Rivoli, since they were not St. Mark's Place, but half asleep one evening on a sofa in the entresol at Meurice's, and hearing a bark in the street, which sounded Venetian, sprang through the window in expectation of finding himself on the usual ledge, and fell 15 feet to the pavement. As I ran down, I met him rushing up the hotel stairs. He had gathered himself from the stones in an instant. Bleeding and giddy, he staggered round and round 2 or 3 times, and fell helpless on the floor. I don't know if young ladies' dogs faint really when they are hurt. He, Wisie, did not faint, nor even moan, but he could not stir, except in cramped starts and shivers. I sent for what veterinary help was within reach, and heard that the dog might recover, if he could be kept quiet for a day or 2 in a dog hospital. But my omnibus was at the door for the London train, and the very turn and each of time I heard that MacDonald of St. Martin's was in the hotel, and would take charge of Wisie for the time necessary. The poor little speechless, luckless, wistfully gazing doggie was tenderly put in a pretty basket, going to be taken where, thanks the beating heart, looks at his master to read what he can in the sad face, can make out nothing, is hurried out of the inexorable door, downstairs, finds himself more nearly dead the next day, and among strangers, 2 miles away from Meurice's, along the boulevard it was. He takes and keeps counsel with himself on that matter, drinks and eats what he is given, gratefully, swallows his medicine obediently, stretches his limbs from time to time. There was only a wicket gate, he saw, between the boulevard and him. Silently, in the early dawn of the 4th or 5th day, I think, he leaped it along 2 miles of Parisian boulevard, came back to Meurice's. I do not believe there was ever a more wonderful piece of instinct certified, for MacDonald received him in astonishment, and Wisie trusted MacDonald to bring him to his lost master again. The Cahellion sheaf brought him to Denmark Hill, where, of course, Wisie did not know whether something still worse might not befall him, or whether he would be allowed to stay. But he was allowed, and became a bright part of my mother's day, as well as of mine, from 1852 to 1858, or perhaps longer. And that is the end of my Dog Wisie by John Ruskin. I hope that you enjoyed this story, and I apologize if my pronunciation was not the best. Have a great day!